I was enlisted aviation machinist mate, third class, and I was a starboard waist gunner on a Navy patrol bomber flying over the China Sea. Out of there were quite a few islands, but the last island when the war ended was Palawan, which is a long snake-like island in the Philippines. Well, we go all the way back to, I was born in Hollywood, California. My father was in pictures with Buster Keaton.
Wow.
And then when the Depression hit, I was about 2 or 3 years old. And the movie industry went kaput. So that took care of that. And so we ended up driving in his Marmon all the way to Chicago. So my brother and 2 sisters, mom and dad, we lived in Chicago on the 3rd floor, rear, 2-bedroom, cold water flat. And people will say, well, what's a cold water flat? And you have to explain to them that a cold water flat is where you have to heat the water up to pour it into the bathtub. I just cannot believe what I'm talking about.
Wow.
But to have all those years of nothing is unbelievable, and I can't imagine ever going through it again. I think that's the worst thing that has happened to us. We all had the diseases. Example would be I had spinal meningitis when I was 8 years old. I spent 10 months in the contagious hospital in Chicago. And when I got out, my poor mother was very pleased to have me back. And 2 weeks went by, and my brother went in with infantile paralysis. And during those times, hundreds and hundreds of us died. It's just unbelievable. And people say, well, why did you join the service? Well, when you've lived through the Depression and you can go into an organization that gives you room and board, clothing, and at the end of the month, you get a whole $30. So why wouldn't you join the military? The first night I ended up at what was known as Camp Peary, Virginia for boot camp. And we had not 3 bunks, 4 bunks. So you had the 4th bunk was unbelievably high. And you know that you can't sit up in any bunk other than the top one. I was on the top bunk, and I heard the whistle on the train going, and I got unbelievably homesick. Now I'm 16 years old, and it's my first time away from home, and I know that I'm not able to go home again. And that morning, it was gone, and I never ever had another problem during that whole period of that time, because when you're 16 and 17, you can't die, because that's the way you think. So I wasn't going to get killed. And yes, we had enemy fire, and yes, we fired at the enemy. But knock on wood, I'm sitting here talking to you. Well, when we went to war, we knew that the Japanese was our enemy. And if we were going to lose that war, then California to the Mississippi they'd be speaking Japanese, or they wouldn't be speaking at all. And from the Mississippi to the East Coast, they'd be speaking German. Well, when you think about all the volunteers, the heroes, the millions of young men and women, black, white, green, orange colored, whatever they were, they came in and they enlisted into the service. This is pretty much what you've got going now, only they don't know their enemy. The whole idea of all of this is stop having negative thoughts, think positive, and don't think just because you sneeze 3 times that you're coming down with something. You're not. And I've seen that, oh my God, I've got a fever. What's your temperature? 101. You don't have a fever. Come on. So that's how I feel. Think positive, as I am. I'm not going to get this. I know it. If I do, I'll live. Her name is Jenny. She owns a nail shop. And she had to close it up. And she volunteered. All of this costing her, and she's making masks for free and delivering them to all the hospitals and nurses and what have you. Now, and by the way, she is from Vietnam, and she is married, and she's just an unbelievable human being. Now, if we're going to talk heroes, that would be my top hero right now, is Jenny. And she's got a cute little shop, and she's doing just wonderful. And let's hope that this all goes over with soon so she can get back, because I know that she's in debt up to her eyeballs. But I just would like everybody today to subtract their negative thoughts and think positive about all of it. It's going to be better. I might even say, I promise you that. When I joined the Midway, which is almost 15 years ago, I've been a volunteer docent ever since. And I want to thank everyone out there right now, doctors, nurses, clerks, delivery people, drivers, you name it. I'm really proud of you, and I take my hat off to you. And by the way, I've got a full head of hair. Well, when I'm on the ship, I'll just give you a quickie. On the ship, I wear my flight jacket. And on the back of my flight jacket is a Chinese flag. And that was called a blood chip. And you carried it in your pocket just in case you crashed, hopefully on land, not in the water. And you hopefully saw this civilian and you showed him the flag, and the flag written in Chinese explains that you're a good guy and take me to your leader and you'll be rewarded.
Right.
Well, when the Chinese see that flag, I get hugs and kisses from the ladies, handshakes from the men, and then they realized that it was World War II and the Japanese had occupied China, and they take picture to show grandpa when they go home.